The historical information contained in this video came from an information packet passed out at the event you are about to watch.
On behalf of the Osteen descendants and the Lieutenant Joseph Morgankamp 2012 Sons of Confederate Veterans, we welcome you to this ceremony. We not only are here to honor this family, and we are definitely here to honor the Osteen family, we're also here to honor these gentlemen.
John H. and Thomas Osteen were soldiers in the Confederate States Army, serving in the 3rd Florida Infantry. Thomas served as sheriff of Taylor County, Florida from 1876 through 1883.
Amen. And if you're a member of the Osteen family, would you just raise your hand? We are glad that you all are here. Let's give them a round. We're grateful for the opportunity to be here today on the occasion of this rededication of this cemetery and the dedication of these military markers. We, the Sons of Confederate Veterans, consider it an honor and a privilege to recognize the service of Confederate service members. If there are other S.C.V. camps here that are represented today, would you just call out for Sure. Herbert Smith, 1219. Smith. Any others?
703. John Hance, Osteen, 770.
I wanted to make sure y'all heard that one. Osteen. So very well. And I don't know if there's an order of Confederate Rose or UDC. I know we have a couple of UDC ladies here. I saw. Very well. We also extend a welcome to the Mechanized Cavalry for being here as well. I know we got some of them. Is Perry Bacon here? I don't see Perry. I saw him yesterday. I think I may see him coming up here. Robert Lynn is here. Mr. Robert Lynn's had a huge part in making sure this is together. Of course, Donna Osteen Mixon had a huge part. There he is. There's Perry Bacon. We want to say welcome, sir, and thank you for your help in all of this. Make sure we recognize you and all of our honored guests. Glad that you are here. At this time, I would like to invite Lieutenant Commander Darrell Rattery to come and share who we are as an organization.
It's 11 o'clock.
A real good turnout at this Osteen Cemetery dedication.
I appreciate it, Commander Taylor. I don't know if I can follow up with that. He did a pretty darn good job. My name is Gerald Rattery. I'm a lieutenant commander for the Central Region for the Florida Division Sons of Confederate Veterans. What we are is we are a national honor and historical society. We believe in the perpetual memory and taking care of our Confederate ancestors. Each and every one of you standing here today needs to be proud that you have Confederate blood running through your veins. This is what we're all about. You're witnessing what the Sons of Confederate Veterans organization is about. We're a national organization with 850 camps throughout the United States. We have over 28,000 active members. You see it right here. This is what it's all about. Honoring and taking care of those who are our ancestors who went before us. That is what the S.C.V. is all about. We're honoring their memory. Commander Taylor? I had the good pleasure of meeting compatriot Scott Osteen a couple of years ago. He is a descendant of these gentlemen of this family. He's a part of you. We met on Facebook, and then I was able to meet him in person a couple of years ago at one of our services here in Perry. He is a descendant of this family, and I'm glad that he was able to stop by this very cemetery in its formation, in its reformation. And he paid his respects before he passed away. I'd like to ask if you would join me in a moment of respectful silence in memory of compatriot Scott Osteen.
So lay your bought by John Osteen in 1852, and I think his second wife was the first one buried here. A lot of the history of the cemetery I know because it was passed down by my great-grandfather, Bill Osteen, who attended the burial here. But everybody else that might have, they're all gone. There's, just word of mouth that was passed along, so we know who was here. And the sign says it's pretty much what he shared with the family, and then I put up there. There's so many people to thank to make this happen. Joanne Sheffield and her family were wonderful, letting us stomp around, move things. They've been just wonderful, and I so much appreciate all that Joanne has let us do. Where's Joanne? Back there somewhere. Thank you so much. Robert Lynn was a great help. He knew how to get things done. So I leaned on him a lot. There's a lot we didn't even have to discuss. He just took care of it. So he was invaluable. And then the Sons of the Confederacy wrote the application for the 2 Confederate headstones. That kind of got it started. Here's the memorial plaque to Scott. This was one of the brothers' wives, but he died up in Dalton, Georgia, and was buried there. And the one that started the cemetery, I believe this rock was above his grave, which was behind that tree. And this was his third wife. And where's Joe? Joe Birch is a descendant, and Sandra Birch is a descendant, and Diane, where are you? She's a descendant of the Faulkner family. Her daughter married into the Faulkner. We don't know who's in what grave, but the graves look like this, where they're marked. And they're kind of scattered around. And we found them after we had the land cleared. A lot of people came out and helped with that, and I want to thank each of those. Barney Johnson came out and worked on it, Tommy Monroe, William Wright, J.C. Davis, James Taylor, Joe Burke, Jared Wiltshire, Bob Boatwright, Aaron Henry, my husband George came out, Edward Mott did a lot of cleaning up and mowing and all. Lee Norris helped place the stone, and Dan Simmons was out cleaning up, using his tractor to help make everything level. He was really interested in the cemetery, and we sure do miss him. He could be here. He died of COVID last year, so that's what happened. I have some booklets on the desk. If you didn't see them, it has some history, and there's some programs over there. If you didn't get one, I don't know. That's it. Thank you. Thank you, Donna.
There's someone I neglected to mention. That's Dan Simmons. He brought a tractor out here and, oh my goodness, pulled out stuff, and I neglected to mention his name earlier. So, all righty.
And we may have missing people because sometimes people on their own, they just came out and did what they could see needed to be done. I have no knowledge of all of the people, although sometimes people say, guess who I saw in the cemetery? That happened a lot. Yeah.
But it is a beautiful place, and we're going to make sure it stays a beautiful place. Several years ago, I didn't know about this place. I had no idea it was here. But I received a phone call as I was driving up from Lakeland. And it was a gentleman that had bought a piece of property over here. I cannot remember his name, but he bought some property.
It was Jerry Nelson, and he had since sold the property.
His concern, he had heard that there was a cemetery around here, and he was concerned he didn't want to build a house on top of it. And he also heard that there were soldiers buried here, and he wanted to make sure they were honored. That's the first time that I ever heard of this place. And I'm sure a lot of you already knew about the place, being family members. But for me, that was my introduction to this place. We came through his property there to a jungle, and we tried to make our way, and the WPA project back in the 40s had identified the cemetery, and it had some veterans listed here. And the VA wants to make sure that you have documentation that a veteran is buried in a place. Well, that was the documentation that we needed. And so these deep roots of this family, going all the way back to when this was Madison County, you folks are still here in large part. And you're spread out as well. All the way to Colorado. Area is home. And you have roots here. And so we're delighted that you are here today. But today we honor the service of John H. Osteen and Thomas Osteen by dedicating these markers provided by the Veterans Administration, which by act of Congress recognizes Confederate veterans as American veterans. We're grateful for their service to Taylor County, to the state of Florida, and to the Confederate States of America. Additionally, we honor Lieutenant John Osteen, who served during the Seminole Indian War. Like many young men of that day, their only memorial is when you drive through some small town and you see the courthouse. And they're on top of a pedestal. When I go to Atlanta, that's what I see. That's the only memorial Mr. Rainey has, is that Confederate lion that has now been removed. In towns throughout the South, when you see those memorials, just know that those men, many of them do not have headstones at their graves. That is their headstone, that memorial. And that's why we strive so hard to protect them and to keep them. So at this time, as we dedicate these markers, I'm going to back up just a bit and invite Nancy, my wife, and Donna to place the memorial wreath right here. Following that, we'll have a volley from the rifle team and playing of taps.
Got people over here on our right, so high elevation. Come to the ready. Aim. Left oblique. Load, prime, and come to the ready. Come to the ready. Aim. Fire. Load, prime, come to the ready. Order arm. Come to the ready. Aim. Fire. Order arm.
This cornet dates from 1860. I got it at Gettysburg.
Wow.
This horn was used during the war.
Wow.
It's a beautiful horn. They don't even make them like this anymore. I thought it was appropriate to use this horn to play taps. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our service this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming out this morning.
You make me
A lot of these graves just been marked like this through here.
The 3rd Florida Infantry Regiment was formed near Pensacola, Florida, in July 1861. Its companies were recruited in the counties of St. Johns, Hernando, Jefferson, Duval, Wakulla, Madison, Columbia, and Sewanee.